Welcome back to the Have Not Room. I am Ben, and I am joined here, as always, by Chad and Brian. And this is our second to last podcast for the season. It will be wrapping up on Thursday for the season finale. We are here to talk about Big Brother Canada 9, and not only that, we sadly have to say goodbye to 2 out of our 3 winner picks in these last few episodes. And we have 1 left, and not looking great, but it's still a chance. It's greater than 0. So we'll talk about that though. But first of all, we come back from our cliffhanger off of our Thursday night eviction, where Jed basically gets brutally eviscerated by his former allies, and he finds out that he has a chance to come back into the game. And then we have our double, which we talked about, our fake double, where Tara also gets evicted. And she cries in the HOH room with Jed, and we leave on a cliffhanger. One of them will return. And everyone kind of predicted probably Jed, but we said on that episode, probably like 60-40, because it was a pretty crapshooty competition. And let's hear your thoughts, Chad. This is your winner pick. What was your reaction to seeing Tara beat Jed in this ball rolling competition and come back in?
It's the worst feeling ever because it was Tara of all people. I feel like if it was like a tie or if it was Beth, I'd be like, okay, I can deal with that. But nope, had to be Tara.
Trick shot Tara,
who is an absolute floater who took out my guy. He probably could have won the game given how this final 4 has been going, but it sucks, but whatever. You know what? He tried his best. I'm sure he'll be on All Stars eventually.
I mean, you make a move like that, you hope that at the very least you get a return appearance out of it. Yeah, Brian, what was your reaction to coming back from this Monday, from this 4-day feed outage, no info, cliffhanger, to find out Tara is our returnee?
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising, no doubt. I did think it was a little unfair because Tara was in comp clothes and Jed was in like a nice pair of pants and a button up. Mm-hmm. I was like, that let him change. Yeah, that's not fair. Right. I know I can't run fast at all, but I couldn't run nearly as fast, in athletic clothes versus dress clothes. Like, come on. It was rigged, is all I'm saying. But it was disappointing. I wanted to see Jed back in there. Tara has a chance, obviously. I guess narratively it was interesting to see her come back in and be like, yo, what the hell? Why'd you guys vote me off? That was pretty rude. But just kind of, it made this week, I don't know how to put it. It wasn't like complete deja vu because, different HOH and different person being voted off, but it was still okay, we've been through this before. Let's get to it. Mm-hmm. I never really felt like Tara was, even if she won HOH, gonna make a big move. I think she probably would have just went for Beth anyways. So that took a little bit of wind out of the sails. And, obviously once Breydon won HOH, she just kind of was like, okay, so you're not going to vote me off 5th again, right, guys? And they're like, nah. And she was like, cool, good stuff. And then she just kind of stopped playing after that. So a little more boring, I feel like, than it could have been with Jed coming back in.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Jed coming back in would have been a way more interesting and explosive outcome. Jed would have probably worked with Beth as opposed to just kind of forming this 4v1 situation.
Assuming you guys got me that time. Yeah, I trust you won't do it again.
Yeah, I do think that Jed, assuming the comp outcomes are the same, which you never know with Jed in them, whether he could have done better than Tara. But assuming the comp outcomes are the same, I do think that Jed would have probably taken the bullet for Beth again here.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it would have been probably more fireworks, and maybe the final 4 would have created slightly more intrigue. But I think that we got a decent situation here that we can talk about after we get through the final 5 week. But yeah, it was a close comp. I thought that Jed's strategy for the comp was better than Tara's.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was like. Oh, if I was playing, I'd try to bounce it off the wall. And then he was like, I'm going to try to bounce it off the wall. I was like, yes. Yeah. And then it just didn't work out.
Yeah. The whole idea is like, you needed to roll fast enough to get to the top, but not so fast it rolls over. So if you bounce it, you're rolling it fast enough to get to the point where it bounces, and then the bounce will slow it down at the very end. So it makes sense. But yeah, it didn't end up working out for him. As you said, Tara came back in very passive-aggressively upset at mostly Kiefer as the person who probably burned her the most. So understandable. But I think she did a decent job of reintegrating. What were your thoughts on Tara's reintegration into the game chat?
I think she's pretty much right back where she was. She's a floater. She's not going to make a big move. I mean, like, I bet someone probably takes her to Final 2 and easy win for whoever's sitting next to her. So, I mean, she secured herself $20,000 easy. But that's if no one takes Breydon. But Breydon's been, stepping up his game recently, especially comp-wise. So, honestly, who knows? This Final 4 is pretty open. And I don't think Tara really changes anything, for me at least. I could be wrong.
I mean, we'll talk about what happens this week, but we see our eventual evictee, Beth, come out of the house, and when Arissa asks her, who do you think is going to win, she says, I think Kiefer is going to win, but I want Tara to win. So, I would not at all write off Tara's ability to win a jury vote here, especially as we'll talk about with Ty's very haphazard at best jury management with Beth this past week, and especially with Jed having been burned. You can kind of imagine what that's going to look like with Beth coming into that jury house. But yeah, let's get into it. So we have Tara re-enter, and then right after this we have our Vegas themed, gambling kind of poker themed HOH comp, where it's another days comp. There's been a lot of days comps this season, probably because it's very easy and cheap to set up booths. We have Breydon ends up barely eking by a victory here. It comes down to a tiebreaker between him and Beth, and he answers a tiebreaker question exactly on the money. Very impressive. Definitely something that we need to be looking out for heading into Final 3 potentially. If, presumably the Final 3 competition will be also heavy on the days, and Breydon seems to know his shit, so. What do you thoughts, Brian?
Impressed. Like you said, nailing that. I mean, I was surprised because that question was from a long time ago, and also I don't think I would have paid attention to how many people or how many apples people put on their carts on the second veto competition. I'm just being straight up honest here. I would not have cared at all. So I wouldn't have done well. Certainly wouldn't have nailed it 100%. I hope when he goes on post-game podcasts and stuff, someone asks him did you know, or was that an educated guess that just happened to nail,
I mean, he had math written out on the right-hand side, so it looked like he was actually adding the numbers up that he had memorized. So it's not like Beth seemed to be more of doing kind of a rough estimation. And she was pretty close as well. She was 10 or 15 off. But yeah, it looked like he wrote down all of the numbers and added them up on the side. So I think he had it memorized.
Absolute psycho shit.
Yeah.
But in a good way, obviously. But still, just what the fuck?
Yeah, and so here we have Breydon, as you mentioned, Brian. He puts up Beth and Tara again, copying Ty's noms from the fake double. What do you think? Do you think this is a good move for Breydon here, Chad? Do you think that taking out Beth, which is the presumed planned move at the start of the week, is this Breydon's best Final 5 decision?
I mean, if you're Breydon, he wants Ty, right? I mean, he's closest with Ty, so I see the logic in not putting up, because obviously, like, you think, oh, put up Kiefer and Beth next to each other, but if Kiefer wins the HOH, the veto, then he would either have to put Tara as a replacement nom, or Ty could be in danger, especially if Tara won the veto for whatever reason and used it. So, like, I get the logic. I probably would have just gone Keith Beth, and have Tara as a replacement if you had to. But he wanted Beth out, and look what happened. But so it's not a bad move, seeing as it worked out. But I think Keith next to Beth would have been a little better.
Yeah, I think it's hard to put it in like what's the best move. Probably the best move is getting Kiefer out. Probably.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he had any intention of doing that, so it's hard because Breydon isn't like a player who necessarily is maneuvering himself in such a way that he's going to win the game. He wants to go to the... okay, maybe Ty actually is going to, like, piss everyone off enough to where Breydon does win, and if that's the case, like, fucking good for him. I didn't see that coming. But, I don't necessarily see him someone who's aggressively playing within his self-interest, so it's one of those situations where it's hard to be like, oh, Breydon, you're making a huge mistake. It's just like, nothing showed me that you would make the right decision. So I can't expect you to make the strategically correct decision.
Yeah, this is kind of what we've gone through this a lot.
Yeah, not even this season. On last season too, where it's just like we talk about, well, obviously this is the right move, but these people will not make the right move because they want to piss us off. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Like the worst move you could think of.
Yeah, I think if Breydon is playing optimally and he's like a Big Brother machine, like calculating things correctly, then I do think taking a shot at Kiefer here is probably correct. But I think that there's enough merit to the Beth move that I don't think it's the worst. I think the worst part about it is the optics to the jury, because we see Jed coming into the jury house here, and there's a lot of talk about, like, nobody's taking a shot at Kiefer. And everybody is so dumb. Like, Kiefer is sitting right there, and nobody's even considering taking a shot at him. And so I think worse than not getting Kiefer out is probably the optics of having an HOH this late into the game and not taking out somebody like Kiefer, who is like seems like from a a perspective of like the jury's reality versus perception. Like their perception is that Kiefer is going to win, and so anybody who is not making a move to get Kiefer out of the game is not trying to win. Right. So, will it work? Could it work out for Breydon still? I famously said for like the last 4 weeks that Breydon has a 0% chance to win the game. Yeah, right now I think his chances are looking better than ever to potentially fall ass backwards into winning this season. So,
oh my god!
You know what? I'm not going to make any more predictions. I'm not going to really hold it too hard against some people when they're not making optimal moves, because nobody in the season is making optimal moves. We've seen it every single week. Every single player is making the incorrect decision. So it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll see who wins.
Yeah,
because we'll be surprised as they are probably.
Yeah, I've seen people compare the season to like a Brant Steele, where like you run the Brant Steele, and people like do the fake characters in the Brant Steele make decisions that have like no basis in logic or reality at all, and you're like, wait, what the hell is that? That's kind of what's going on this season every single week, where everyone is just doing the wrong thing. So, at the end of the day, one of these players is going to walk away $100,000 richer. So, who am I to say? Who am I to criticize, I guess?
I feel the same way, man. You know what? I will criticize, though. So we have the Vegas theme for the HOH. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, we're throwing balls down a ramp and they're hitting things. There's a very famous gambling game with that same setup. It's pinball. Like, no, pachinko is right there. Why is this not a pachinko-themed veto competition? I don't understand.
Can you build a pachinko board that, like, kind of funnels in a predictable-esque way?
Probably not.
I think the reason they did pinball is because it's very easy to time, and so it's a lot easier to, like, predict and, like, do what Breydon did, where he, in my opinion, pretty smartly kind of counted out how long the ball on average takes to come down, so he can, meter out his subsequent balls in an appropriate way. I don't think that would be like that kind of strategy would. But from an aesthetic perspective, I agree. Of course,
they could have just called it a pachinko machine, and it's like, it's similar. But they were like, pinball. That's it.
Yeah,
we nailed this theme a week.
Yeah. Well, we are burying the lead here. We have Breydon coming away with his third straight competition run.
That's true.
Kind of out of nowhere here. Breydon has been doing decent in these comps for the most part all season. A lot of people have talked about how he frequently comes in like second, third, fourth in a lot of these comps. But it wasn't until very recently where he just started knocking them out and actually taking home the dubs here. I don't know what else there is to talk about that. I mean, it's impressive.
I mean, yeah, sometimes it's just like you just need to get rid of those one or two people who are in your way, and then all of a sudden you're the front runner for challenges,
Yeah.
Yeah, less people.
Like Mike Holloway won 5 in a row after they got rid of Joe, so like, worlds apart. So, I mean, sometimes like you just got to get rid of the challenge beast so you can shine.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, Jed leaves.
Jed
leaves, and they just he starts just knocking him out.
Mm-hmm. I'm very impressed, honestly. Like, he's definitely like a dark horse challenge competitor in the sense that even though, like you said, he's been performing well, he wasn't someone who I was like, oh, he's gonna break out and like beast out these comps. And like he went from a mental comp to a very physical comp, and he owned both of them. So hats off. I'll take mine, but my headphones are blocking, and it'd be a whole mess.
I do think now also this is the North American Big Brother season with the most unique players to have won at least 3 competitions as well. With Roe, Victoria, Kiefer, Ty, Tara, Breydon, and Jed. Did Jed win 3? I think Jed only won 2. I think there's at least 6 people who have won 3 competitions or more. So it's a very even competition season. And we're heading into this kind of final run where everyone kind of has around 3 comp wins. So, definitely, have the comp designs this season been a little repetitive and boring with all the boots and question challenges and all that? Yeah, a bit. But it's caused, a wide variety of people to win. I think that's probably arguably more important than whether or not the comps themselves are particularly intriguing. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that.
Oh, yeah, dude. I don't care about the comps. I would be like, fine if every week was just pick a number out of the hat, and whoever has the highest number wins. The interesting part is when different people win the comps, and that's what we're getting. So, like,
exactly.
This is great.
Yeah. The social game is more important to me. It's the more fun part of it, bro. Like, we've seen the same challenges in Survivor year after year. It's the same challenge in Big Brother year after year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that, like, even, looking at BB22 as a comparison point, BB22 had a lot of really interesting, unique kind of challenges and comps, but it didn't really lead to great, strategic and social outcomes when the same small set of people kept winning them. It doesn't matter how interesting and fun the comps are if they're just won by a select few people. So, I think, if you're gonna have to, I would, in a perfect world, you'd have interesting but varied comps. But if you have to choose one or the other, I would prefer, comps that are boring but anybody can win them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Most of the time when the comps are happening, they're so repetitive, and like every confessional is just like, in this competition we have to roll a ball. I'm like on my phone, like, oh, that person came out. Okay, that's interesting. Like. I don't care that much about the comps in terms of interest level, so I'm fine with this.
All right. Let's get into our Thursday night eviction from this past week. Most recent episode, we have Beth eventually is going to get evicted, of course, but before that, most of the episode was kind of, on con.
Hold on, Ben. We're actually gonna take a break and get some food, and this part of the podcast is brought to you by Weber. 20 minutes from now, we have a Wendy's sponsorship too. And then maybe a Grubhub will slip in there.
It's skip the dishes.
Mm-hmm. Skip the dishes, which I assume is Grubhub in Canada.
It's the same kind of concept. Yeah. It's like a Canadian fast food, or not fast food, but like a food delivery app thing. Mm-hmm. It's basically like Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates, all those. It's that, but it's a Canadian company.
It's a good name. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's a decent name. It's a little kind of a mouthful. I feel like 3 syllables is probably the cap. Or like Uber Eats, I think you're really kind of stretching it. Grubhub, Postmates, these are nice 2-syllable words. Mm-hmm. But
Yeah, Uber is just like we have to have our branding in there.
Sure, yeah, of course, that makes sense. But yeah, skip the dishes. It's it makes sense. It's a little bit of a mouthful though. But yeah, the only real interesting stuff we see in this episode is we have 2 segments, one kind of at the beginning and then one towards the end, right before the vote, where Ty is having some sort of a confrontation with Beth, or they have a discussion that escalates into a confrontation.
It's handled very well by Ty, and it's just good stuff. And also, I just want to say, like, the way this episode was edited, whereas like confrontation, sponsored segment, confrontation, because Beth is like, doing her duty as a BB player and, hyping up the sponsored segments, it makes her come off as completely unhinged. It's like every scene she's yelling,
she's not fake.
She's either yelling at somebody or so happy. Yeah. It's just like, I'm sure these were spread out through the week in real life and then just all put in this episode, but it was just very off-putting. It's no fault of her own. Yeah. She's doing what you're supposed to do, but like, it's just like, what the fuck is happening in this episode?
And she went from like screaming at Ty to the raccoon segment, and I'm just like, why is she so happy? I'm like, this had to have been filmed like a week ago. There's no way this just happened.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to mention that because it was just like, this is
what? Lot. I hope it was chronological. I hope that's how it went.
I mean, it was, but as Brian mentioned, there was a lot. There was time in between. But yeah, it's Beth doing a great job here of campaigning by getting into confrontations with the people whose votes she needs, and Ty doing a really good job of jury management by just berating the person who's about to leave and go to the jury.
Was it Ty who was like, is this you trying to campaign to me?
Yep.
That was hilarious.
You're doing a bad job.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. And he also had the line, like, have fun in jury. That was really fun.
Yep.
Not things you should be saying, but hilarious that he actually said that.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least he's self-aware. In the diary room, he says that he might be losing Beth's jury vote, but he doesn't care.
Why? She wouldn't want to vote for you? She's totally not going to poison the well in jury.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't have a boyfriend in there who also is, has reason to be pretty pissed off at you. Mm-hmm. And they're definitely not 2 out of the 7 votes that you need to get. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
His best hope is that their closeness annoys the rest of the jurors so much they vote to spite them.
Mm-hmm. The Matt and Raven effect.
Yep. If that's the move, then bravo. But I don't think he's thinking like that.
Yeah. I don't know if Rowan, Victoria, and Tina are that petty, but we'll see.
Yeah, it takes a special jury of Mark and Elena to do this.
And Whistle Nut.
Oh, I forgot Whistle Nut. Oh, man.
But yeah, that's pretty much all we really got from this last week. There wasn't a ton of content. It was a very straightforward week, probably the most straightforward week of the season.
That's why they put 3 sponsored segments.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, this is so great because we bet on slop. Have you been on slop this week? Because it feels like they've just been feeding you.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you because the feeds are off.
Oh yeah. They're like, guys,
that's
just say
pretty
you're on slop, but like the
Yeah.
feeds are down. It's fine.
Yeah.
Eat what you gotta eat.
Yeah.
So, now we have our final 4. Jed is gone officially. Beth is gone. It's Kiefer, Ty, Breydon, and Tara. And we have, at the very end of the Thursday episode, we're expecting, it's another booth-style days comp we're going to be getting here. Another, memory thing. So you'd expect, we'd be able to get that, hopefully, on this Thursday night episode that had a half hour of sponsored content and a jury segment. But nope. No time for the HOH comp. That probably went for another 5 to 10 minutes. But we do know the feeds eventually came back, and our final 4 HOH is none other than Tashawn. He is
Hey.
the final 3.
All right.
And, because it's the final 4 and nothing matters until a jury, or until the veto competition happens, very little happened on the feeds until we had our veto comp. And our veto winner is Tara! So
Tara gets to decide, and she's pretty upset with one player.
Yeah.
And I feel like this might be bad for our last winner pick in the game.
We have Tara will be casting our second to last vote to evict this season, deciding to evict between Breydon and Kiefer. So let's talk this through, all right? Because on paper, it should be clear that Ty and Breydon are taking each other if they're both in the final.
Okay, that's. I thought you were saying it should be clear that Kiefer's gonna go, but I like this better because it should be clear. It should be.
So, in my opinion, it's actually strategically correct for Tara to vote Breydon out.
Yeah.
Because
you want money, yeah.
That means that she is pretty much guaranteed a spot in the final 2, and she is probably going to be sitting there next to Ty, who is just pissed off most of the jury. All she has to do is for her or Ty to beat Kiefer in the final 3 HOH, and then if she wins the final 3 HOH, she gets to then cut Kiefer then, which in the jury's eyes will make up for her not cutting him at the final 4. And I think that's her best chance to win, personally.
Yeah,
sure.
If she goes to the final 3 with Breydon and Ty, they 100% take each other no matter what, and she's putting herself in a position where she has to win, otherwise she is in 3rd place.
I can't believe we're talking about this right now.
Can't disagree, Ben. I mean, but well, as we all know, this is the season where everyone throws so hard. So
you knew there would be a but, Brian. You knew there would be a but. Kiefer, in all his wisdom, makes a number of mistakes here in his pitch to Tara, which should be an easy one. It should be an easy one. It should be Breydon and Ty will take each other. I will take you. Ty will take you. So if it's us 3, if you cut Breydon, Ty will take you. I will take you, and you have a chance to win. If you cut me, Breydon and Ty will take each other, and you're forced to win the final HOH. Very easy pitch to make. You can make it in 3 to 5 minutes and go have dinner. Kiefer.
Brought to you by Skip the Plates.
Skip the dishes.
By Weber.
By Weber. Yeah, they can go grill up some steaks. Kiefer first is so egotistical that he thinks that if it's him, Tara, and Ty in the final 3, Ty will take him to the final 2 over Tara. And even if you think that, it would be correct, of course, to then, from your perspective, lie to Tara and say, no, Ty will take you. he, in all of his wisdom, decides to tell Tara, well, even if it's us in the final 3, me, you, and Ty, I think Ty will take me. He's promised to that. So not great. That's strike 1. He then, periodically through his half-hour to an hour-long pitch, gets really annoyed with the fact that Tara is even making him make this pitch because he thought it would be automatic, and periodically tells her, you know what, just evict me, I don't care anymore. That's strike 2.
That's good.
And
reverse psychology, Ben.
Yeah, strike 3 is when Tara asks him, well, would you take me to the end? Kiefer, what would you say in this situation, Chad? If you're Kiefer and Tara asks, if we're in the final 3, would you take me to the end?
Hell yeah, I will.
Ryan, what would you say?
Of course I would.
So
Tara?
Kiefer's response to this is, well, if you look at the jury, I think I can win. I could probably beat you. So I guess that's kind of your answer.
Oh my god.
So
we had some really good winner picks, guys. Just did a great job.
We fell on its ass, dude. We fell on our ass.
It was 3 of the final, six. Thank you. 3 of the final 6, and we were like, man, we're cooking. Like one of us is gonna get the by proxy W for the podcast. We're gonna look so smart, and then it was just like speed run, ruin our reputations any percent.
Yeah. So, just to reiterate, I 100% think that it is in Tara's best interest to keep Kiefer and evict Breydon. But Kiefer has done everything in his power to guarantee that Tara will make the incorrect decision because of emotional reasons, because of the way he's handled this pitch so poorly. And you know what? I can't even blame Tara at that point, right? Like, she's already pissed off at Kiefer. All Kiefer has to do is say, Breydon and Ty take each other, and he does at certain points make this point. He's like, they're sleeping in the same bed together. They're obviously going to take each other, right? But he doesn't then follow through with the next logical point, which is, if it's me, you, and Ty, me and Ty will each take you. Because that's the important piece here. The important piece here is that it's better, like one instance is better than the other. In Tara's mind, it's the same either way. So she's going to take out Kiefer because he's the biggest jury threat, right?
Right.
And then on top of that, you can also make the point, oh, well, Breydon's winning all these comps. I haven't won a comp since the first double eviction. So he's obviously the bigger comp threat, and that's what's more important to you at this point. You need to win the final for HOH. So there's so many points here that Kiefer can make. He spends most of the pitch just doing terribly, really hyping himself up. And this is kind of how Kiefer has acted. Like he's very much like a light switch. He's either on or off. There's no dimmer, right? He's either 100% high in his own supply, talking about how he's the greatest Big Brother player of all time, saying that he's going to win if he gets to the end. Everybody would be stupid if they didn't vote him out. Saying this to these people who are not even thinking at this point about whether or not that's correct or not, putting it in their heads. Or he's, on the verge of breaking down, begging to be evicted. Those are the two states of Kiefer. Yeah, honestly, at this point, I'm exhausted. And I don't even care who wins this season.
Me neither. At this point, me neither, dude.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Ty would be cool. I would like Ty to win, but who knows?
I think that, assuming Kiefer is evicted here at the Final Four, Ty is probably the most deserving winner. But as we've talked about, he's done a very bad job at jury management. So, honestly, it's like you could literally just roll a d4 to determine who you think is going to win. It's completely a toss-up. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to make a prediction?
I gotta go with Ty. I mean, to be fair, Ty was our collective backup pick. I think all three of us kind of said that. So
lock it in to try to save what's left of our egos.
It's gonna be Breydon, and I'm just gonna quit.
You know what? Breydon is the winner of this season deserves. I'm gonna say Breydon will win this season. All right. I've said
Go, Breydon!
every single week up until this point that Breydon is horrible at Big Brother, and there's no way he can win this season. I'm flipping that on his head right now, and I'm saying Breydon will win this season because that's the season. That's the winner this season deserves. Honestly, like he is a perfect encapsulation of Big Brother Canada 9.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's quite fair.
He's a light switch. Benny, you just did the whole light switch thing. You just saw it live. Oh my God, Big Brother, what are you doing to me?
Anything else?
You to us.
Well, we'll be checking out the finale in a few days here. So any final thoughts before we wrap this episode up, wrap the season up? Obviously, we'll be back after the finale, but before we see how this wild ride ends, any final thoughts?
I think they'll do a fake finale.
Finale?
Fake
I mean, it was a very entertaining season.
Yeah.
I was barely part of this podcast for most of it, but I've enjoyed when I've been here. Chad, it's good to talk to you. It's been well, we do other shows together, but for this, it's been a long time. Yeah, and just to all the people who listen, just want to thank you so much. We hope that you enjoy it, and we're sorry that the wheels fell off for our winner picks at the end. We really were thinking that we had this in the bag, but no.
We did not.
Yeah. I mean, we still look pretty smart. I mean, not to toot our horns. We predicted most of the good players from the season and the preseason.
True.
I think we predicted the season as much as anybody theoretically possibly could have, given how chaotic and insane it was. So, let's not get too hard on ourselves. And Kiefer technically isn't out of the game. He's probably out of the game, but you never know.
Yeah.
The sun is setting, though. The sun is setting.
Yeah, the sun is setting on our winner picks, on the Sunsetters on this season. I think that's all I have. I don't know. This season's giving me headaches, honestly.
It's a wild ride.
In a good way.
Yeah, it was a good season. It was
good.
It's hard to watch people not play in their own self-interest, but in like a sloppy way.
Yeah.
And like everything about BB22 felt so clinical and boring that when people weren't playing in their own self-interest, it was just boring. But this wasn't boring. It was just sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Breydon insinuate to Tara that he would not take her to the end when she asked him.
Oh, man.
Well, he did vote her off.
Yeah.
I don't know what clear message you need, Tara. He's not that into you.
Yeah, like we said, every single person making every possible incorrect decision, but makes for fun, interesting television.
Sometimes this cast has just decided to practice radical honesty with each other.
Yeah.
Look, my winner pick basically gave up. All right, so I got nothing.
So not even basically.
Yeah,
he gave up.
Possibly 2 out of the 5 worst Big Brother moves of all time in back-to-back weeks. In the course of like 4 days, in keeping and then using the veto on Beth.
I went from Cody, who won All Stars, unanimous win, probably like top 3 best like games of all time, to Jed, who quite literally got a sword and stabbed his throat with it. So, I mean, that's BBCAN9. That's BBCAN9 though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, it's just so hard to run it wire to wire like Cody did. The Big Brother house makes you do weird things.
Yeah.
It's too many lights. It's too bright in there.
Yeah. You're blinded by love, blinded by the light. Yeah.
Not
Brian, you want to wrap us up here?
Sure. All right. Hey, like I said, thank you so much for checking out this show. We really do appreciate it. If you liked it, maybe subscribe, maybe check us out on iTunes, rate us there, leave a thumbs up here. Maybe give us a comment on who you think made the worst move this season. That'd be swell. Be interesting to read. So yeah, if you like this channel, this is Better Radio. The main channel is youtube.com/wickedgoodeverything. We're also on Twitter at WGEverything, on Instagram at wickedgoodeverything, on Twitch at twitch.tv/wickedgoodeverything. Ben is the one who mostly streams on our Twitch channel, usually Among Us, but maybe some other games coming soon. We did stream some sports content last Thursday when we were talking about the NFL draft. That was a lot of fun. If you like sports content, check out our Wicked Good Sports channel, where Chad is a frequent guest with me on there. And speaking of Chad, where can they find you online?
Yeah, find me on Instagram at ChadleyJP and on Twitter at ChadPerry25. Should be right about here.
Awesome. And Ben, same thing?
Find me on social media at Ben Sharon, also right here.
Just cut you off.
No, it's fine.
You can find me on Twitter at TheFakeBMarr, this BMARR. I mostly... I don't tweet a lot. I retweet a lot of Pokemon stuff and sometimes, political stuff. So if you're not into that, maybe stay away from me. I understand. So yeah, that's about it. The season is winding down. The podcast is winding down for now, but we will be back with Big Brother 23, provided it happens. But I don't think there's any reason why it wouldn't happen if they got 22 done. So, until next time, thank you so much for listening.